Peace, family, peace, warriors. This is Dr. Sadiki Che Baye, the host of the Men's Room Talk Show, coming to you every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming to you live, family, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is a place where you're going to hear the voices of our black men, our warriors, the ones who are doing positive things in our community, the ones who are being the example, the ones who are fulfilling their purpose, the ones who are gaining the respect back. Because too often the black man is blamed for everything that ever happened to us, including slavery. And we must set the record straight. So that's why it is good to have a forum like we have today, something that we can call our own, and we don't even have to get permission. Isn't that a beautiful thing? This is our thing, the Men's Room Talk Show. Highlighting and acknowledging the black men in the community that have gained and that is worthy of respect. We need to get our respect back, family, and the black man is the one to take the lead, to lead, guide, direct, and protect us and provide for us and so forth and so on. We are the alphas. And we're going to do all we can to honor and represent the ones before us. We have here today, family, a special guest, a warrior who's been on the battlefield for many, many, many years, opening the mind's eye of our people, to lift our conscious awareness that we are the original people. We are the children of God. Everybody else came later. I mean, it is what it is. So family, I'd like to welcome you today, our warrior that's been on the battlefield for many years, Reverend David V. Mallory. Welcome, warrior.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here among brethren who are aware of the fact of our status in the community and the work that we try to do to push things up a little higher.
Well, yes, sir. Hey, I know one thing, brother. I appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you. Now, let me ask you a question there, warrior, to warm it up, to get it started. Give us a little bit about your background, your family, your environment, your education, and so forth. Just give us a little peep into your journey, brother, because we know that things have changed.
Well, I got a good start with my family sending me to boarding schools. I went to one in Bordentown, New Jersey, which was run by the state of New Jersey. My parents pulled us out of public schools because things weren't all that nice for Black children back in the 40s and the early 50s, especially. So they pulled us out. Number one, they didn't want us to uh, uh, get out of school without having some kind of a trade. So the boarding schools both gave us a trade as well as a really great academic background. And also it put us in contact with African American teachers, which is something that was a big help to us. So I went to Bordentown Manual Training Industrial School. It was run by the state of New Jersey for Black kids in state, and some of them came from out of state too. But we had half a day of trade, half a day academics. We had military training also. And the good thing, we had nice military uniforms on, and we felt important. And those teachers we had, oh, they were just absolutely great, different from the school teachers that we had in our local communities. Then I went to a similar school in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Most of the kids came out of Philadelphia, actually. But we were fortunate to go there. The trade, academics, the same thing. And plus, you worked on the campus, which helps to pay for your board. So that was my high school education. And I did finish up at this high school. I went to at HBCU, Virginia Union University down in Richmond, Virginia. And I finished my baccalaureate. I got my master's in divinity there also. So that was I majored in sociology in undergrad, and then I went right into the graduate school for theology. So I came back to New Jersey, and before I knew it, I was pastoring the local church in my community, which is Richland. And what a great experience it's been.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, before we get into that, brother, and I'm going to ask you a question about that down the line. But Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, that's where I'm originally from, Virginia,
Oh,
Alexandria, Virginia,
okay.
right next to Washington D.C.
All right.
We know that Virginia, Richmond is further down south there. But let me ask you this. That's a very interesting. You talk about the teachers and the instructors. All of our teachers lived in the same neighborhood. We knew each other. The families knew each other. I remember doing work for my elementary school teachers. 3 of my elementary school teachers, I did yard work during the summer when I was in elementary school. We had a true sense of community. And we took that for granted when they gave us this illusion of integration. And it made us more individualistic than anything, or this attitude, I finally made it, whatever you mean by that. But let me give you I also heard that you joined the armed forces. What branch were you in, and how did that go?
Well, I didn't actually join the armed forces. I wanted to. I had the military background from 8th, 9th, and 10th grade school. But when I came out of seminary, I was interested in going into the Air Force and or the Coast Guards. But they told me I wrote letters and I made phone calls, and it just doesn't seem to me. It just didn't seem that that it would work well for me in the military. So I took my social work degree and started working for the Children's Bureau in New Jersey, in southern New Jersey. Cumberland and Atlantic counties and Gloucester and Salem counties. So, and I'm glad I didn't go into the military because I didn't think that the war, which was raging at that time, Vietnam, something told me that this is not the war for you to be involved in because it seemed to me a political war. It just seemed to be political. We weren't freeing anybody. We weren't doing any of that. And something told me, stop pursuing the military. You go in and start helping children and families. And that's what I did. I got a job and I stayed with it for 42 years. So, yeah, I started at the bottom and worked up to the top without having to go out of my southern New Jersey.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, wow. Well, I did the same thing, the Vietnam War and all of that. I was ready to go to jail. I was going to be like Muhammad Ali, ready to go to jail for those 5 years. At least I'll be preparing myself to get out and have more sense, and more determination. But our fight is here. We don't need to go nowhere else.
That's a good word. We got a war going on here, don't we?
Yes, sir. We had this is a 500-year war here. So my thing is that we need to unify our efforts and get our communities back. This common unity, that we have taken for granted, but at the same time, Reverend, I understand that you're a pastor, but what made you get into the religious field? Because that's what I got my doctorate in religion. And what interested you in being a pastor of a church, instead of doing something else?
Well, when I came out of Virginia Union, I was interested in two things: maybe pursuing the Air Force or the Coast Guard, or pursuing a doctorate. I was just enthralled with the idea of teaching in the seminary. Of course, I had been taught by one of my teachers in seminary had been in Virginia, had been Dr. James Cheek. He later became president of Howard University. And he was such an astute black man, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be able to understand like him, to talk like him, to teach like he taught. I mean, that's what I wanted. And I had Drew University in mind, that where he came out of. But it just seemed that I was directed. I mean, I wasn't a big decision maker. I found myself in the pastoral place, and I said, "Okay, well, we can do this, Lord. We can do this." I mean, it was like being directed. I can. That 23rd Psalm is something that I can say has been real to me. The Lord has been my shepherd, and I shall not want. And everything has worked out wonderful to me. Wonderful. Just being in the community and doing things with it. As a matter of fact, when you opened up, the thoughts you shared when we opened up were the thoughts that it just seemed like you were around the table with us when our men's organization got started. And guess what? They named it Just Us Men's Fellowship.
Wow.
And it was just like, we got to come together. We got to do something. We got to be something. It's good to be good, but we got to be good for something, And this is what the men felt like. So we started out with maybe 9 or 10 men. Then it grew to 15, then to 20, then to 30. And our little place, we got a little crowded out there, and we had to move into another room or add another room onto our fellowship meetings, our breakfasts. We have one tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But we have one of the local guys who does the cooking. He owned a restaurant at one time, but then he had health problems. He had to stop. But he comes in every 6:30 every third Saturday, cooks fish and grits and potatoes and and eggs and sausage and bacon and biscuits and the whole 9 yards. And the men just they just come together, snow, sleet, rain or shine. Uh, but it was the feeling that we need to be together, and we don't need to be going to funerals where everybody comes together and wonder, well, who's that over there? And who's that over there? We just had to come together. And that's what we do. We come together and we support one another, and we undertake different things in the community. One of which was to have a free shuttle, where out here in the country, people were missing appointments, and some people were being charged $30 just to go to the market. You know, so we decided we need a shuttle. We need something that people don't have to pay for, and they can get to their doctor's appointments. They can get to their job without relying on somebody. So that's one of the things that came out of our working together in the community, and with the foundation, with the county government, got them involved in the New Jersey Transit. We got them involved, and that shuttle's been going on for about 7-8 years.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, brother, that's the big thing. Self-preservation. The things that we need to do ourselves, instead of sitting around begging and waiting for somebody else to do for us, like we are little children or something. See, man means mind. We got to mind up. We got to man up. You know what I mean? And we got to grow up. So, and age is not the determining factor. Your mindset is the determining factor. Your mind determines your character. So, and that's the beautiful thing, self-reliance. This is the opportunity for us to develop our own, since everybody's pushing us out more and more every round. We get more and more upset. What you upset about? God bless the child who got his own. First of all, got his own mind. Because everything you see came from a thought. This is how powerful the mind is. Wow, one thought, is a powerhouse. So imagine the millions of thoughts that we have. But keep in mind, family, that all choices have a future. Let me say that again. All choices have a future, because choices are like seeds. They don't grow all at once. But where we are right here, right now, is the causes of the choices that we made yesterday, whether it was conscious or unconscious. So we need to be more conscious. So Reverend, my brother, my elder, in my mind, there is no love that's greater than a man loving his brother. See, one thing, the genders have to start loving one another before you get into the opposite gender. We're not even worthy of a heterosexual relationship until the brothers start loving one another. We are the alphas. We have to be willing to die for one another. Let's do all we can to be there for one another, because 1 times 1 is what? 1. We're always one. No matter how it seems, everything is in divine order. So warrior, I understand also that you was reading your bio and so forth. You were a professor.
Yes, I taught sociology at the Cumberland County Community College for a few years. That was on a Saturday mornings. That's what I did, and it was a joy to do that. It made me think of I should have gone on and drew anyway, but the Lord didn't see it that way. But one of the things when you mention the word love, I think we have a lot to do with what's going on in the world. And from a spiritual point of view, we had a member to pass away over about 2 years ago now. It'll be 2 years coming up in the spring. And she was on the board of trustees, and I had grown very close to her because of her wisdom and her caring. And she passed away. And she had that treatment they give for the kidneys when they're not functioning right. She had to go 3 times a week, dialysis.
Dialysis, yes.
Eventually, she passed away. And when I got the word in the middle of the night, the next morning when I got up, I came to this same computer and as if I had something to do. But it occurred to me as I stood there wondering, feeling just as low as you could feel when you lose somebody you care so much about. It came to me as if the Lord was speaking. Um, it and the words were these: her soul has spread its love throughout the world. She was a woman of a great depth of love. She loved her family. She loved her community. She loved everybody she met, her co-workers when she was working. And it just occurred to me that however we are, like the Lord said, let your light shine. There's something in us that comes out and it goes to other people. We don't know. We don't know when it's happening, how it happens. But I came up with the thought that, my goodness, we must always be on stage. People are always looking at us. People are always, and I said, well, if that is the case, if there's something coming out of us that we don't know is coming out, which is however we are, it exudes from us, I think. And what comes out of us influences other people. We don't know how somebody may have been healed. We don't even know. We may have healed many people because of how we are. They have seen us and their life has changed because they saw us do something or say something or made something happen. But we don't know how we are influencing our world, not just the people around us, but I think there's some spiritual stuff that comes out of us based on, well, it always comes out of us, good or bad, and it influences our world. So the beauty of coming together is having a same spirit, which makes us all stronger. And whatever good that is fostered by how we are and how our group is becomes more powerful, even without our doing anything. If we just come together and meet and talk and enjoy and share and everything, there's something happening in our community. People think we're doing something. What y'all doing up there, over there? We just fellowship and that's all, but something is happening. And we don't know the greater influence of what of our coming together and brotherhood and sharing and just caring about one another. We just need to do it and good things will happen. I mean, we may have projects and stuff like the shuttle program, all that. That's good. But just coming together, supporting one another, and just enjoying the fellowship,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fail not to assemble yourselves together. See, and that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter about your religion. It's about godliness. If all of us say we love God, then what's the problem? Mm-hmm. So the thing is that, I really appreciate what you have said, and that you shared with us. Can you share with us why is it so important for us to remember our history?
Well, I read this book. This thing is thick, and when I share it with somebody, they look at me as if I'm crazy. You want me to read that? But it was The Warmth of Other Suns, SUNS, The Warmth of Other Suns, and it was written by a Black lady who just wrote a phenomenal book. I think she got a Pulitzer Prize for it. And this book told me stuff that I didn't know about now. Now, I've been down in Virginia back in the 1950s, and things weren't nice. I even got attacked in a store. Um, and I was on a line with sit-ins and all that. But what I didn't know, I did know a little bit, but it became clear reading that book, The Warmth of Other Suns, that Black people came up out of the South in droves, millions and millions of Black people. And they came up to Detroit and Boston, Philadelphia, and all of these places. And as I read this material about what they did, how they got settled, how they would come up and then call their family down or bring their family up, how the white Southerners didn't want them to leave because they did all the work. You know, y'all can't go nowhere. One person in the book that I read was threatened with a gun at his head. You ain't going nowhere. And if I ever tell of you trying to get up out of here, you know, I mean, these people, I had heard stories, but when I read that book about our history down south, I mean, I had read about all of the war, the Civil War, and all that. But man, just to see that history was important to me because I understand now better some of the things that we do and why we do them. I understand better why we have certain things that go on in the church, why people love the church so much, or our elders did, because they would come into the church after being called Mabel and Johnny and boy and girl and all of that. They came into the church. They could be called Deacon Jones or Mother Roberts or Evangelist so and so, and these positions in the church were important to them. It's the only place where they could be treated like they were somebody, a human being. You know, this is why our history is important, because we understand why we do certain things, how we got to where we are, and why we do certain things, and some things that I didn't like, you know, going on in the church. But after reading that, I said, oh, I understand that now. That's why, yeah, I'd do it too if I went through what they went through. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It helped me to understand and appreciate who we are, what we do, why we do it, where we came from, and the troubles that we have had just surviving, how we came up here, and I just and I remember, but I didn't have all of this background to see how important it was when my mother told me that her family came up here in 1919 when she was just a little girl. Her whole family came up. My father came up. They knew one another. The families knew one another down in Georgia, southern Georgia, right near Alabama. And they came up here and they went to Philly like a lot of other Black people were doing. Got an apartment. They crowded in. Everybody crowded into this little apartment until they could all find their own places. And just to understand what they went through. And now I understand why the Latinos have done the same thing. When I was a social worker, there were a Latino would buy a house, rent the rooms out to families. But that's what we did. We did the same thing when we came up here. And I didn't understand that until I read that book. That's how it's just amazing. The Warmth of Other Suns. And just to know our history is so valuable to understand who we are, how we got here, why we do certain things that we do, and also what we need to do to move a little higher.
Wow. That's deep. I appreciate you sharing that. And see that as soon as you ended up by saying what you're saying, that clicked into my mind that we must know the reasons and the whys of things. and stop being dumbfounded about certain things. We must pursue the answer, no matter how much it'll hurt. We must hurt and get it over with because we hurting anyway. Because the enemy is going to make sure that he keep the pressure on. So it's very important for us to know the difference. You know, we are unique. We are the original. So we shouldn't expect everybody else to be like us. Everything that exists have opposites. So what does that tell you about the others? They're opposite. So don't start tripping when you see them doing things that we're not into, because that's not our reality. Our reality is righteousness. Our reality is Godhood. Our righteousness is love with the respect as the foundation to our love. Because I never even heard the word love until I became an adult, because we always taught about respect. Now we running around with all this love stuff, but Tina Turner set the record straight. What love got to do with it when you don't respect me? So we must honor and respect one another. That's the foundation to all relationships, is respect. Then you can build on the respect. Everything in life has a process, and we must understand the processes of things. But we have been made not to be a process kind of people. We've been made to be an emotional kind of people. And your emotions can deceive you. So the wise man goes by what he knows, not what he feels. So we have to start knowing something, family. And I thank you for sharing the experiences, because I remember when I was little, I started chain gang and all of that out there on the roadside down in Virginia. So I witnessed a lot of things, but the difference between white folks down south and the white folks up north is the white folks down south, they'll let you know what's up. The white folks up north, they got this little, curveball they throw at you. They can pat you on the head by stabbing you at the same time. So, but the enemies are, all of them have the same purpose, and their purpose is to control us.
Yes.
Keep us in our place, whatever that's supposed to be. And they need to know that we're the ones that taught them hygiene, we taught them language, we taught them, education, taught them how to read. Everything that's righteous and divine, the black man and woman created it. So ain't no need being spooked up about that. You want to speak on that, Reb? As a matter of fact, what I'm going to add to it before you say what you're going to say is, why is it so important that the black men need to come together?
That's what. Say that again. Why is it so important that?
Why is it so important for the black men to come together and assimilate and to talk and to organize?
Well, we have something important in us, the black men, and it needs to be pulled together. It's something dynamic. I mean, the women have they have the same thing on, but the men are what you use the term alpha. We're the alpha men. We have to be leaders. We have to be strong. We have to be protective. But we have to do things that will benefit our community. We have to do that because nobody else is going to do it for us. Nobody else is going to do things that benefit our community.
Right.
Now, if it helps somebody running for office, they'll do stuff, But it's not to help us, but it is to help them to move forward. And but it is important for us to come together for the reasons that I've said, that just the fellowship itself exudes a spirit, whether we see it or not, or can trace it back to our fellowship. It exudes a spirit that helps to cement the community. And that is what we need. That's what our young people need. They need to see that they are part of a community and they don't have to go running out and selling drugs and getting handguns and threatening one another and all that sort of stuff. But we have had very little of that. You know, one of the things that we did have, I think you probably heard about the young man who was in high school, and he was a wrestler, and the referee made him cut his hair off.
Right.
That happened in our community, and his grandfather was a member of our men's fellowship.
Wow.
And that grandfather came in there. He was fit to be tied. He wanted to get. Knowing him, he was talking, but he would have gone out and got no machete or a shotgun or all that stuff. But he was man. But the group rallied around him. The Washington Times sent up a reporter. They sent up a photographer who sat and talked with us to get the story. And what we did, we ended up writing a letter to the Board of Education and also to the organization, I think it was the Scholastic organization that sends them out or that sanctions these referees to go to the schools. We told them the board, he cannot come back here. We told the Scholastic organization he should not be refereeing. And the school board agreed he will never come back. And the Scholastic Association also suspended him for a couple years. And he said, if you come back, you will have to come back only if you've had training in race relations. So I think that was what the men's group did. They rallied around this family and let them know that they were not alone at all.
Beautiful.
So that's what helped us when we did the sit-ins, that the Black community rallied around us. I mean, we sat in, but they didn't close the stores because of us sitting in. They closed them because the Black community said, we ain't going there no more. And their income of these stores started going way down. And so they said, oops, we better do something. They started opening up. Some of them got rid of the food counters altogether, but they opened up and we didn't have the same kind of problems that we used to have. But we got to come together so that we can support one another. And like you said earlier, the battle was here, not over in Vietnam. The battle was right here. This is
right,
what we got to deal with.
That's right, brother. Oh, that's beautiful, man. And it's just, you know, that what you were saying, what came to mind. See, a lot of times there's a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing can be surface, but when you're listening, you're hearing things that a person is not verbalizing. You're hearing more. You know, you hear more from that person than they're verbalizing. And not only that, you feel in that person. So that tells me that listening is a skill. So we are the pure example of what skill is all about, because we taught the world everything. You know, and a lot of people be saying, I kind of question this. A lot of people say, well, I can't change nobody. I kind of question that, because sometimes your influence can be so powerful. You know, your energy, your spirit can be so powerful, you influence a change in people.
Yes.
See, so we got to be careful how we verbalize. Don't forget, we speak in a bastard language. And it's a curse in itself that we only know the enemy's language and don't even know our own. And there's power in words. Don't forget that, family. So we must teach our children to learn some kind of language that is ours, like Swahili. Very easy, simple language to learn. Now encourage people to learn language, because every time we say something, everybody know what we're saying. But we don't know what everybody else is saying. So it's a curse in itself by not being able to have an option. because options is the key to success. When you have the individual's ability to create options, that's what true success is, because no one can box you in. So we need to create options, family, and stop blaming our children when they say that don't forget, children equals foolish. So why are we surprised that the children are acting foolish? So how do we combat that? But with the ones who claim they got the sense to create an environment that is conducive to them not being a fool. It's up to us. We got to stop blaming the effect and start understanding the causes of the effects. We are the causes. Our children is the effects. So we have to address the causes, family, in order to change the effect. Thank God for blessing us with choices. Wow. A lot of people say, I don't have no choice. I say, you know what? You had a choice to say you didn't have a choice. Everything is a choice, whether it's conscious or unconscious. We got to be more conscious. We have to be more mindful. We have to be more intentional. We have to be more deliberate. To love ye one another. We can't afford to love anyone else until we love ye one another. Everything starts at home. And we're not talking about no building. We're talking about the home of your mind. The king's dome is his head. So the kingdom of God is within your mind, family. And once you tap into that, no one can touch you. Because energy recognizes energy. Spirit recognizes spirit. And we are the ultra spiritual people. We have been crowned with the spirit of our Father. And we must act like we know and stop walking around with your head all down and everything like we were taught. Look at the tips of the enemy's shoes and all of that. Nah, we got to be vertical. We got to be 90 degrees straight up. Then no one can ride you when you're straight up. So if there's 4 sides to the 90, 90 times 4 is what? 360. So we got to be 360, family. Come out of that box and get on the 360 and keep it moving. And always remember, what goes around comes around. So be patient with what you plant, because seeds don't grow all at once. So we have to have faith. Before I ask you another question, I just want to make this last statement here. They said that when you pray, I kind of, after you pray, what's the first thing that you should do after you pray? You should be patient. And patience develops faith. That's the process, family. You pray, patience, faith. We have to give God a reason to bless us with what we desire. You can't fake that. And life does not excuse ignorance. It gives you benefit of the doubt. That's what you call grace and mercy. That's just the benefit of the doubt. And what does that mean? That means to check yourself before you wreck yourself. So with that in mind, warrior, our strong mind, our leader, our teacher, what is the most important reason why you developed this men's group? Because one thing that I understand is the black man is feared more than anything and anybody. That's why they work so hard to keep us down. And when the politicians, when they vote you in, don't forget, they'll tell you in a minute, you're only here to make us happy.
Well, I like you said, to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I like that. And I used to say, give yourself a checkup from the neck up.
There you go. We say that too, brother. Yes, sir.
But you know, I don't think the men came together with the idea we need a men's group. No, I think some of them shared my same thought that I was busy teaching. I was busy going to work every day, and when I stop and go to a funeral, and I see somebody, and I said, "Who is that?" Who is that? That's so and so. He lives around. I said, you know what? Something's wrong here. This is not right. We need to know one another and we need to come together. And I think the men felt that way too. And I think that's why they named it Just Us, because we had the same problem of living near one another, but we didn't, most of us didn't go to bars, and that some of us did. But that was the thing. Nobody just said we gotta meet. All of these altruistic great ideas. We just needed to come together in fellowship, and we've been doing that since 2002. And when I look at the years, I say, wow, 2002. And then when I look at our little list of those who have passed on, I realize how long we've been together. And it's just something that now we're supposed to get snow tomorrow. But guess what? They'll be there. They said, we are macho men. We will be there. We are warriors.
Warriors, brother. That's right.
But no, there was no great grandiose idea of fellowship or anything that we've been talking about of what has happened, though by coming together. But it was just the feeling the need to know one another, to fellowship, and to relate to one another on some type of regular basis. And it's just ballooned, blossomed. We've been even got together a couple of years and took our wives out together as a group, that was really fantastic when we've done that also. It's sort of bringing a good portion of the community together. We don't have as much of a community now that we used to have. We had our whole church was filled with members from the community, but many have died off. And the children who have grown up, they're all over the country. I mean, we'd like to have them around us, but that's good. We had two of our two doctors of our members became doctors. We have one in the financial area, one in the psychology area. We have the principal. We have had kids who have gone to school, and the church sent them their money to, when you go to college and you're far from home and you're not from a rich family, your worst problem is getting food, having food. You're still young, you're still growing, and eating is a big deal. So we made sure that we sent all these kids who went to college a monthly stipend so that they could eat, have some food on the side. And Dr. Sadiki, we had, when I was going to school in 1957, 58, 59, down in Virginia, I was a member of the choir. And the choir always went on tour out westwardly and then northwardly, the big cities on the East Coast in the spring. I didn't have money. So what I did was I went over to the college president's house. His house was on campus. And his name, you might have heard of Dr. Samuel DeWitt Proctor, Dr. Proctor.
Yes, sir.
He was the president then, and I would say, Dr. Proctor, we're going to tour. Could you loan me $10? And $10 was a lot of money in 1958, 59. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So he'd reach in his pocket and pull out $10, and he'd look at me and say, "Now I want this money back, don't you?" So he gave it to me. I went on tour, but it was like that camaraderie, that fellowship, that love helped us a lot. It helped me a lot. I think I think just to have elders, people in charge, black people in charge, meant so much to me. Uh, when I was in Bordentown, in this Bordentown Manual Training School uh, in New Jersey, I didn't do my homework because I had to go downtown and see this movie because I just love Frank Sinatra. And so the kids, when he took up when the professor took up the homework, he said, "Maury, where's your homework?" And I said, "My homework? No, I didn't do it. You didn't do your homework." And I was wondering why everybody in class was laughing. So, and he said, "You didn't do your homework." I said, "Maybe he didn't hear me." I said, "I had to go downtown to see the movie, Young at Heart." You know, Frank Sinatra was playing in that movie. So he said, "Maury, I'll see you after class."
Uh-oh.
You know what? I sat down, waited, everybody was gone. He came up to me and said, "Maury, when you got homework to do, that's more important than seeing movies. Okay, you like Sinatra, you like Doris Day, that's a great movie, you know, but do what you have to do first. And then you do whatever else you have to do." And you know what? He didn't shout and jump up and down and bam on the desk or anything. He just told me that in a quiet voice. Uh, and every time I think of that, I just feel tears welling up because it was so different. That care and that love that poured out of that man to help me. And do you know something? All of my life, from that moment on, I did what I had to do first. I took care of business. I just, something simple like that. Something simple like that. Somebody caring for you. That made a big difference. And I think that's why my parents pulled us out of the public schools, the integrated public school, and sent us to those boarding schools. They wanted us to have those experiences. And that was just one. I had plenty of them. And that's what we need to do with our kids today. This is what we need to do in our community today. And not just act like we're the sheriffs. We should act like we are loving people and caring and have a way of reaching our kids, our young people. And not only all our young people, some adults too. You know, what you said was so true, how important speech is, language. Words can be more dangerous than bullets. They can kill more people than a shotgun.
And it has.
Language is important. And I wish I could be. There's some people who pick up language just like that. Bam, they got it. We got I have one of my cousin's daughters. He studies Chinese, and she even went to China, and you know, and all that. I said, that's amazing. That's her. The Lord gave her that ability. Just like some kids start playing the piano at 4 and 5 years old. I mean, everybody got their talent and skills. But I would love to learn our language. I really would.
True. Well, we had a language, but we kind of bastardized it, Ebonics. And we're into this. Don't you be coming here talking like that. Speak correct English. And I'm saying correct English. Everywhere you go, they got a dialect of English. So what's correct? You see what I'm saying?
Is it New England or is it Georgia or is it?
Exactly. Yeah, Alabama, whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody got their dialect of the language that we say speak correct. And what do you mean by correct? So we always want to perfect everybody else's stuff. You know what I mean? And when you're speaking the language of the enemy, you're empowering the enemy. Because don't forget, words is power. And we give over our powers all the time and not even conscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
See, now that we are where we are now, why not make sure that our children get it?
Mm-hmm.
But why not make sure our children get a better chance on being vertical? And vertical means what? Balance. So somebody threw us off, and the number one tool that they use, from my awareness, is religion.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So we must teach our people the correct way of what religion is all about and not be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that in the beginning, there was no such thing as religion. Why? Because we were spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere along the line, we made the wrong turning, and that's why we need to go back to Genesis and find out what went on. You know, we turned our backs on our forefathers, and all hell broke loose. So we must realign ourselves back to our reality. That's what religion is about. Realigning yourself. Go back. That's what the Sankofa bird is, always looking back to know where they come from. And when you know where you come from, then you know where you are right now. And if you know where you are right now, then you know where you're going. Most people don't know where they come from. You know what I mean? So we need to encourage and motivate and inspire each other. But first, we must be conscious of our the wounds that exist within us. You know, everybody's wounded. And that's why we have to be careful how we handle each other. We must be conscious of that. That's 500 years of torture. No other people could have withstood all of that and still have a desire to want to do better. So we got to be gods.
Mm-hmm.
See, we a lot of things is spooky to us because it was given to us in a spooky manner. But once you study, see, we don't study, we just read. There's a difference in studying and reading.
Mm-hmm.
Reading means that's surface. You just calling words, memorizing and so forth. But when you study, you diving into it. Now you become a deep diver. Now you become deep rooted. That's where we came from. Now we are shallow about everything and we became too emotional. Now we based on everything on how we feel, not what we know.
That's one of the things that has been um, one of the bugaboos dealing with it. We are very emotional folks, and sometimes we get carried away with that.
True.
There's a difference between simply believing and knowing.
True.
You believe when you hear and your mind accepts, but you know when you live what you believe.
Mm.
People say, I believe this, I believe that, I believe this, I believe that. But what a person believes is what they live.
True.
When you live it, then you become to know it. And you're not just simply believing it anymore, you know it.
True.
And one of the things in the Black church that I have struggled with is getting people to move up to that higher understanding. It's good to be emotional. I like to be in a service where people are excited and, you know.
But it's controlled emotions, though. That's different.
Yeah. The thing is that people get to a certain point of joy and euphoria that I don't need to know. I just feel good. I feel good. This, you know, but there's somewhere down the line you got to live it. If you believe it, then let's live it, and then you know it. And the people who do know it, because they somehow stumbled on to living what they believe, or maybe purposefully start living what they believe, they become the people with wisdom. And you can sit down because they're not talking about something they believe. They're talking about something they know, they experienced it, they've tasted it, they know its strength, its weakness, and they know what to say to you as you make your way up life's path.
Mm.
They're the wisdom people now.
That's true. Now let me ask you this. Because when energy gets together, energy recognizes energy, and we bring out the best in each other. Now, what you just said, what popped in my mind was, if I know something, do I have to think about that something?
Well, what you know becomes a part of you.
Right, there you go. It's your character.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yes, it becomes a part of you. And when you speak about it, you don't have to think about it anymore. You just say what you already know.
There you go. And that's a beautiful thing, man. You know what I mean? Knowing that's why, the wise man goes by what he knows, not what he feels, not what he thinks. So that tells me thinking is the process to get you to knowing.
Mm-hmm.
See, everything is a process. We have to understand process. We are not a process people anymore, unless it's a requirement from the system.
Mm-hmm.
Then we all in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But when it's a requirement that shows the love and respect for one another, it seems like we have a problem with that to a degree.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you believe something, the next step is to say, how do I operationalize that in my living? Jesus said, if you follow my word, you will know. He didn't say, if you listen to me some more. He didn't say that. He said, if you follow what I've already said, then you will get to know the realness of what I said. You will get to know the realness. And that's what it is. I mean, and then when you start living it, then you're demonstrating that this is what I was saying I believe. You can see it in my living. I don't even have to say anything.
That's right. It's all about executing.
Yeah. What you live is what you do. You can believe anything.
True.
But what you live is what you actually come down to. Brass tacks is what you believe.
Yes, sir. Wow. Thank you for clearing that up. That's beautiful. See, I knew you was a thinker when I first saw you at the African American Museum in Atlantic City. And most people don't know that there's an African American Museum in Atlantic City at Stockton University. Right as you come to that last stop before you enter Atlantic City, you see a sign on the right-hand side that says African American Museum. And don't you know, brother, that we asked people all the way around that area, even across the street from it, they did not know. Wow, some things can be so close, we get blinded with it. Mm-hmm. So we have to be more intentional about everything and stop freestyling everything. Mm-hmm. The freestyling is the thing that gets us in trouble. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We have to understand the process to get from A to B and try to make it as straight as possible. Because we don't have the luxuries everybody else have. We're 500 years behind. So we have to be more on top of our as they say, on top of our game, to make sure that every move we make and every step we take count. Mm-hmm. And that's what and I feel good about you gathering these men, the thinkers, the heads, the minds, the seed carriers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's why when the enemy goes and conquer different places, what's the first thing he do? Destroy the seed carriers. Mm-hmm. And then he plant his own seeds in the women, and they become a new kind of people. That's what's going on today. So we must know who we are and pass it on and not take that for granted. Whatever you've been blessed with, what good is it to have it and you have no one to share it with? What good is it? Everybody have an obligation, responsibility to pass on what you've been blessed with. Mm-hmm. So the others won't have to go through what you went through. That's what you call true giving. Mm-hmm. We can't afford not to give because giving is a principle. But regular people feel that giving is losing. I ain't gonna give him mine, man. He might have more than me. So we got this kind of attitude, this loser's kind of attitude that has been thrust in us. And we must understand that and stop blaming each other. Stop pointing the finger at each other. Stop accusing one another. because all of us got the same enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us got the same ass whipping from the enemy, you know. And so we must understand that we have more in common than not.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
It's
do.
it. So warrior, the time is moving fast, brother. I got to get you back on here again because I know you have a lot to share and a lot to motivate, inspire, and encourage us to continue to move forward in spite of the way things seem. You know what I mean? And the way things seem, we must understand that everything is in divine order. There's no such thing as accidents, luck, chance, and coincidence. There's only cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
And God blessed us with the ability to change things, you know, understand with the understanding of the process of the change.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is about the process. It took a process to even get us in the state that we're in today. And so we must develop a process to reverse it. To reverse it. Life is simplicity. It's not that difficult. It's just a matter of choice and say what you mean and mean what you say.
Mm-hmm.
And then execute it based on the ones before you, our ancestors, our elders. We need to put a smile on our elders' face right here, right now, while they're here. Don't talk about how strong they were and how powerful they were once they're gone. Let's give them their due right now to give them a reason to stick around. So it's all good. Are you still there? Hello? Can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Queen?
Yes, I got you. Unfortunately, we had a malfunction here, but his system seems to have gone off. So let's wait for him to come back on.
And so that we can have the
In the
final
meantime,
words of
would you, yes,
Go ahead.
but I also would like, before we end, if you could get him to speak a little bit about his involvement with the Martin Luther King Center in, what's that, Vineland? No, what's the part of New Jersey? They just had
Richland?
yeah, right. Yeah. If we could get him to talk about his involvement there because they named the center and dedicated it to him. So that
Wow.
was something that he's back now. So I'm going to let him, but that's one of the things I really would like you to bring out. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, sorry
Reverend
about
Mallory,
the
are you there?
I'm here. What happened?
Hey, look, what we were saying is so powerful, brother, that we tricked the waves up. You know how they go. Say one thing about us, we move things, brother. But the Queen was saying that can you share with us
No, like I
about they dedicated the center Queen Mother. She was saying that she wanted me to ask you that they dedicated a center in reference to Dr. Martin Luther King. Did you hear what I said?
couldn't.
The center that they dedicated
No,
Dr.
you were
Martin,
breaking up.
the center that they dedicated in reference to Dr. Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay. I think
Can you speak on it a little bit? Can you share with us a little bit about that?
right. Well, you know, some years ago, we worked from the mid 70s to the early 80s in getting a center in Newtonville. And in around 19, I mean, we were working, for a whole decade plus. And finally, when we got a new mayor, he worked along with us, and we were able to get that center there. As a matter of fact, we went to Brigantine had their what do you call it? Their hiring place in this center. It was maybe about 12 different units put together, and the township had something like $80,000 that we got from our efforts. We got a grant from the state of New Jersey. So after some years, we were able to go to Brigantine. They wanted to get rid of their employment center, and it was over. But it's big. You were there, and you saw how big it is, and it was put up there at the center. But I think that I was a part of the group. Maybe because I spent so many years working with the community at Martin Luther King Center. And I said, okay, you can put my name on the front of it. I'll speak up for it whenever, if anybody ever asks about it. It was a whole community effort. That's what it was. And it was over a number of years. And I appreciate their saying that my name should be up there. Somebody's name they were going to put up there, and it happened to be mine. But the whole community worked on it. It really did. I'm just so proud of all of the people. Some of them have gone on home to glory now. I mean, who worked with me in the 70s and the 80s. But when we broke ground, I said, this thing is for real. And then they brought it over piece by piece and put it up. And a couple other people who I think you would be happy to have on this program. One was in charge of a work program in Philadelphia, and he brought his students over, and they helped to clean the building out, take this down, and take this wall down, and all that. We had some of the union workers, both the plumbers and the electricians to come in. They donated their service to get that building in the shape that you saw it was in. The township community, the township committee, our town council, they surprised everybody by pouring money into it and managing the money part of it and making sure everything was right. And they used some of their municipal employees to do this, that, and the other. I mean, it was a real effort. I mean, I am so proud of the community coming together like that. You had the school, when the workers were at the school working, were at the center building and tearing down and taking away the trash and putting up new stuff. The school sent meals over to the workers. So, wow. I mean, it was like a community effort. So I when I see my name on the front, I said, okay, if anybody say, what did you do? I say, I worked with the community. That's what I did. I didn't do anything special. I didn't have any brainy ideas or anything. It was just, what do we do next? Okay, let's do this. What do we do next? Let's do that. Who do we have to fight with now? Let's fight with them now. Who do we have to make peace with? We'll make peace with them now. Let's get this thing done. That was all. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any brainy ideas or anything. It was just, here's the work. Let's get it done.
No, Warrior, you were the chosen one. You were the ones that the Alphas chose to lead the way, and that was acknowledged. I was just at the center last week, and in Newtonville, New Jersey, when they had the fair there, when they honoring the artists, the Black artists that were there. It was a great affair. I love supporting our people. Man, it's like it does something for me. like an upliftment because the energy is so powerful. The spirit is so powerful when we gather ourselves together. There's nothing like it. And everybody know that, but we need to know that. So unity is the key to it all. And that's what they always promote, division, because we are their greatest fear. We are their greatest fear. And I thank them for honoring that to you, that building, because you deserve it, brother. You deserve to be honored. All of us, they see you are actually representing them. Like you said, it's not just you, yeah. But it's just like if all of us are alphas, all the alphas going to choose one person to lead us, but it doesn't lessen the rest of the alphas. Everybody's still alphas.
That's true.
You see what I mean? So you are actually representing everybody. And that's a beautiful thing.
At times I was the quarterback, but the quarterback can't do anything if the wide receiver don't catch the ball, if the running back doesn't get through the holes made by the lineman, So everybody did their job.
Team effort.
Everybody did.
Team effort. Well, that's beautiful with you as the quarterback. So that was a beautiful thing, brother. And I thank the Creator for you. I thank the ancestors for you. And like I always usually say, that we are the ancestors having a human experience. You cannot destroy the spirit. It only transforms. This body goes back to the earth. That's why when you read Genesis, it says, let the food from the tree be your meat. And let the herbs from the field be the healing of the nation. So I ask people, okay, I know that meat was our survival food, but I never knew that meat grew on trees. So my thing is we got to work hard and smart to get back to our reality. You know what I mean? If we can't do it, we need to give our youth a better chance.
Well, God has been good to us. And I know that when I repeat the 23rd Psalm, I mean it. The Lord is my shepherd.
Woo!
I shall not want. What more can I ask for?
True, brother. And that's what makes life so simple.
So that was the Martin Luther King Center experience.
That's a beautiful center, brother, and I commend you and all those that had their hands in the development of their community. It's more than a building. It's a mind. It's a thought. It's a mindset that was created by vision. You had to vision it before you even, put it together. So we, in spite of it all, we still are the master thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
We still are masters in thinking and handling our business. That's why they say life is simplicity. But because we've been catching hell for so long, we think everything's supposed to be hell. And then we question the simple stuff. We're leery of the simple stuff. Oh, that can't be true. That's too simple. That's too easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So warrior, two things. Where can and you're an excellent speaker. You are very knowledgeable. And we love you for that. Where can people contact you to where they can get you to maybe speak or whatever their questions they want to ask you, whatever concerns? How can they get in contact with you?
My email is probably the best because I'm usually just like I got a call when we were on, and I had to let them know that I'll get back to them. The phone is good at times when I make the calls, but when other people call me, I probably may not be available. But my email is the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay, can you tell us the email? Yeah. We got it come across the screen, but we want to, us, we got to hear things more than once, sometimes before it register. Right. So we want to make sure that you say, well, we don't want to give nobody no excuses.
My email is DEMAL DEMAL and the number 2, and that's at Comcast.net. DEMAL 2 at Comcast.net. That's how I can best be reached.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now I want to ask you this, since time has moved, man, time moves fast when you're having fun, brother, when you're learning. You know, learning is a beautiful thing, man. It's fulfilling.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And I appreciate you for giving me that full feeling, brother, and to let me know that what I'm doing, keep on doing it. Because now I'm looking at an elder who knows some things I don't know, who's experienced some things that I haven't experienced, but it lets me know that I'm on the right path. And as long as I can keep my eyes on you, brother, that I'm going the right way. So I appreciate you.
Well, after being here, I can say that the Lord has directed you to this work, and you do it well. He's directing you to this work. And I think that people are probably more than likely being helped by the different people you bring on board and that you talk to, and they talk and share what they have in their hearts to share with others. People don't know how important this is. You know, I was just thinking with somebody who had something happen to their leg, and we wasn't, because when our legs are working, we don't know we got legs. But when a leg goes bad, we realize how important they are, you know, and then you get a knee job and a hip job and all that. And you realize, you know, I often think that if we got up in the morning and we went to Wawa, well, everybody seems to go to Wawa where they are to get their coffee and their donut and their breakfast sandwich. And suppose you get up one morning and you jump in your car, no traffic is bothering you or anything. You get to Wawa, there's nobody there pumping gas, nobody there getting coffee ready, nobody, no sandwiches and nothing. Then you say, what's going on here? Did something happen? So you get on your phone and start calling people. Nobody's answering the phone. And after several frustrating hours almost, no touch with anybody, and something's going on, you realize you're by yourself. Ain't nobody else here. Then you realize how important people are. I mean, you may not know them, but you see them. You see them driving. You see them at the gas station. You see them at the Wawa. You see them all over the place. Okay, everything is good. But we don't realize how important other people are in our lives or to our lives. And maybe that empty Wawa experience would help people to understand that people are important to you. People are important to your life. They need to be treated. No matter what their color, what their language, no matter what their backgrounds are, people are important. And we need to realize that they are as important to our living as our ears and eyes and nose and legs and knees. And people are important. And I just wonder, what is it that makes people think that war is the way to go? You know, I see people and shooting and killing and war, it's the way to go. It just, is this something, do we have some problem worse than the measles, worse than the coronavirus? There's some problem going on up in here that when we start thinking about taking people out, populations. I went to the Holocaust Museum back in 2013. I remember that year because it was a year before one of my best relatives passed. My closest relative, one of the close relatives passed away. And it was just as if the Lord was saying, get there now. I went to the Holocaust Museum with him. I took them, and the one who, she was the one who had a really bad leg and she was on crutches. Well, she had part of her leg removed. She, she, I think I just said, you gotta go. I don't care. But it just seemed like we had to go. And I wanted to have that experience with them with me because they were important to me, her and her husband, my first cousin and his wife, with my wife and I. And they just had to be with me when we went to the Holocaust Museum to see one of the worst tragedies in human history. And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to have seen Emmett Till at the Black Museum that we went to also at another time. I just don't understand what it is about the human being that makes them feel that this is a right thing to do, a good thing to do, to wipe out this race of people, or to enslave this race of people, or to kill off these people over here. It doesn't make sense. And I asked my daughter, who now is a doctor in psychology, I said, y'all got to explain this to me. I don't understand this. She even said, Dad, you need a specialist who specializes in that to explain that to you. I did not take those courses. That's not my expertise. And she promised me that she would put me in touch with her supervisor, who is like that, and has had that training. And she said she would be glad to speak to me. But I'm just wondering, what is it about the human psyche that makes it feel that it can separate from people or human beings by killing them off? It doesn't make sense. That's just like saying I can cut my legs off, I can cut my arms off, nothing to it. And that's what we're doing when we go to war and blow people up, bomb their houses and everything they've accumulated, wiping it out, and it just doesn't make sense. I mean, I could explain that theologically and all that, but it still doesn't reach the depth of sadness and evilness that maybe it has no explanation.
Well, everything has a reason. And this is what we need to seek, the reasons and the whys. And that's what we don't do. We just stay puzzled all our lives, beat ourselves up, suppressing everything, but everything happens for a reason. There's a cause for every effect, and there's an effect for every cause, and everything is correlated. And so what we need to do is to understand the conditioning of the mind. The conditioning of your mind will determine your behavior. You see what I mean? Because everything is mental. Now, we are social people by nature. We are gregarious people by nature. But we were taught to be individuals. Do your own this, do your own that. You don't need nobody. You don't this and you don't that. We didn't get here by ourselves. It took a team to get us here, 2 or more. It took mom and dad. So every generation should get better. So what does that mean? We should be honoring them, not finding fault in them, not scratching our head, wondering about this and that, when they know some things that they don't even want to talk about. That is so terrible. We talk about this little lightweight stuff that we've been through, but you can multiply that with them. Just like our children, they don't have a clue on what we went through. But we must educate them when they're little, not when they get big. Their minds is already full of garbage, so you can't get nothing else in. So we must get them early. Get them early. When that integration came on the scene, we had more love in the communities than ever before. Why? Because the teachers lived in the community. We knew all of them. We knew all the government workers. Everybody came home the same time every day, off the bus. and from Washington, D.C., and so forth and so on. We already knew what time it was when we saw everybody coming home. It was a routine thing. You know, we must get a rhythm. We don't stick to nothing long enough to get a rhythm, except for the craziness. So we must be more intentional, and we must be more deliberate in our efforts to turn this thing around. It's very simple. Like you said, life is simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why we need to calm our spirits down. And once you calm it down, then the things start coming. Because now you got room for it now. We so full of it that we don't have no room for nothing but the craziness. So we must, what they said, you got to lose your life to gain your life. That's what you call transformation. That's what you call born again. You got to lose that old you and bring in a new you. That's what transformation is all about. Everything starts at home. And everything starts with the individual and spreads into the community. The common unity. There is no commonness anymore. Everybody all over the place. Everybody rolling their eyes, sucking their teeth, blaming each other, disrespecting one another. And my thing is, just because you can, don't mean that you should. You know, we need to do all we can, brother, to honor people like you, to let you know that all your sufferings will never be in vain.
You know, I had a minister, one of our ministers made us all understand that more is caught than taught. And I think when I think about the clerks in Richmond who we bought something and we got change back, if they would give us our change back. Sometimes they won't put it in a hand, they push it across, but then they wash their hands in a little bowl they got, you know, a little towel they have there.
I remember that.
And when you said that about being taught and growing up with it in their culture, that's what happened. And this same lady, if she was brought up in another home, another culture, or outside of that deep South, she wouldn't have thought that way about Black people. I mean, that always happens. That happens in any culture in the country, but she could have been raised in another area and with no other parents or who were not brought up thinking that we were inferior or there was something so bad about our humanity that we were less than human, you know. But, you know, more is caught than taught. I remember standing on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, sitting down, my wife and I, we were watching people go by, you know, enjoying the ice cream and dodging the pigeons that wanted to swoop down and get your sandwich, you know, and all that. But I noticed you could tell when families came by, they all walked alike. The Asians walked alike. You know, they kind of had a little shuffle in their feet. Then there was this other family where they would step in lively, and you could just tell. Nobody taught those children that when you walk now, you got to shuffle your feet, you know, like this. Or when you walk, you got to step lively like this or pick your feet up. Those kids learned how to walk when they were 1 year old, maybe, and they patterned their walking after their families, the people they lived with. More is caught than taught. And I think that parents may say this, that, or the other, which seems not bigotry or bigoted, but the kids pick that up too. And they just say it out and get in trouble with their minority friends. You know, why did you say that? Well, I don't know. I'm not that. They don't know that they're repeating the same old and treating you the same old way that their parents learned to treat Black people or minority people, whatever, you know. Well, it's caught and taught. And I do know that people have these ideas about other people, and they didn't sit at a desk and take notes or, you know, and get a lecture. They just learned it from the people that they grew up with or who raised them. So it is so interesting. When you study all of these cultures in sociology, it's so interesting to see how they all differ and how they communicate with their younger people, the people they raise. They don't know that the kids are learning from them stuff they're not teaching them, but the kids are seeing this and learning that way. More is caught by watching.
Wow. Wow. In other words, the environment dictates.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're picking it up from the environment. They feeling it. They don't even know. Half the time, they don't even know that they're doing certain things. It's so automatic.
Right.
We got to be more intentional.
Well, I'm gonna learn. I think somewhere down the road, I'm gonna get some real powerful insight. And when we talk again, I might be able to tell you why they do these things. Because I do know. I know about evil and all of that, and we can explain how people are godless or become that way and worship idols, which is money or other people or whatever. But this seems to go right down to the core of humanity, being humane and humanity. And it just is shocking to see some of the things that have been done. Shocking to know that that black people were lynched, and it was just like the Super Bowl. People from all over, hundreds of people would come to the lynching, and an advertisement in the paper. There'll be 3 of them at this lynch, who we're gonna be lynching. I look at this stuff and I say, wow, these are fellow human beings who was doing that. But people grew up with that stuff, and
The environment.
yeah, and it just tainted. It taints. A lot of people grew up with it and believe that these people are inferior. So it's just so amazing, though, that it happened. It's happening, But I tell you, I don't know.
But Warrior, you have to understand.
Perplexed.
But we must understand that everything have opposites. So when we look at a thing, and we don't really look at it from the reality point of view, what we're actually saying without saying that, God, you made a mistake. So we got to be careful how we present ourselves with those kind of issues, because everything means something. Everything represents something. And there is no such thing as mistakes, coincidence, accidents, and luck and all that old chance and all of that. There's only cause and effect. Now, our responsibility as children of the Creator is to find out the reasons and the whys. And therefore, you begin to see the difference in us, our reality, and everybody else's. That's why we're so puzzled with everybody else. Wow, how can they do something like that? Because everything has opposites, just like left and right, up and down, in and out. You see what I mean? So everything has opposites. So we got to face the reality that we have to know what that is. God allowed it to happen in the individual's presence in order to see the difference, so that you would know which way to go and which way not to go. You see, those people that's on the scene, they're here for a reason. And we must check them out so that we can see the difference. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So we don't have to be tripping on that. All we got to do is say, okay, Father, give me the awareness or the understanding to know what that is, so that I can, keep my balance. Because too often we say, well, I didn't have no choice, and all that kind of nonsense. When in fact, everything is a choice, whether it's conscious or unconscious. That's why we got to be more conscious with our choices. So we have to be more intentional. And the black man has to lead the way. The alphas have to lead the way in spite of it all. We got to go head on and move forward in the name of progress, in the name of the godliness, in the name of our ancestors, in the name of our elders.
Mm-hmm.
So warrior, the time is way over time, but it's on time. I'd like to ask you this: give us the last word before we begin to end our this journey here that we are on, but we're going to continue at the same time.
Well, I thank you very much for having me on this program. And I'm grateful that you have the program. And I'm grateful that you have people who come on and watch. It stimulates, and people can think more and, and get some ideas about their life, their world, and the issues that we all commonly face. They also can get some ideas about the power that inheres in each of us, and certainly in us when we come into fellowship with others in the group. So I'm grateful for this program, and I'm going to listen again and get more of your wisdom when it plays back next week, I believe it is. But we'll look forward to it.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, brother, it's all good, brother. You know, everybody's here for a reason, and we must find out what our reason is, which is finding out what our purpose is. And once you find out your purpose, you got to go for what you know, no matter what. In spite of it all, you got to find a way, because where there's a will, there's a way. And the will is determined by what? The will is determined by how important it is to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if
Yes.
it's that important, you want to find a way.
Okay.
So it's all mine, brother. It's all mine. And the black man need to set the pace. And we're gregarious people by nature. We're group-oriented people by nature. The alphas need to find a way to bring that together. The alphas. Because again, and I can't say it enough, that there is no love that's greater than a man loving his brother.
Amen.
So, and the sisters can say the same thing. So once we begin to love our gender, then we can afford now to develop a relationship with the opposite one. But we so much in love with the opposite before the brotherhood. We out of order.
Mm.
And then we got to wonder why things happen the way they do. You know, life gives you signs. Everything means something. So we got to slow our pace down and find out, well, what is that? You know what I mean? Because it's all good. God does not present anything to you without a meaning, without a reason.
I agree with that. That's for sure.
So don't be a punk and ignore it. Check it out. You know what I mean? Because it's there to take you to another level. And there is no end to levels in life. Then I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna end. Is that I can't say this enough either. You know, I give raw food for thought. I give you things to think about. You know what I mean? You don't have to believe everything, but I want to motivate, inspire, and encourage you to check it out for yourself. There's four main elements in the universe. Four main elements. What are those four main elements? Hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. Those are the four main elements of the universe. Now, when you study the black man, what are the four main elements of the black man? Hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. So what does that tell you? We are the universe, having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
We've been everywhere. We are the universe. There's no limit to the universe. So why do we limit ourselves? We limit ourselves because of our conditioning. We got to find a way to come up out of it. We got in it together. We got to come out together. And I thank the Creator for you, warrior, more than you know. Thank you so very much for taking the position in life that you've taken. You're nothing but, to me, a motivation and an inspiration. And I thank you for that, brother. And because I never had a man in my life while I was growing up, but yet I adopted 2 boys and raised them. One graduated from Morehouse. I gave him a black experience. I never had that. You see, I wasn't mad and upset about it because I don't know the fullness of why my mom became the way she did and my father became the way they did. But I do understand that they blessed me to be here to do better. So I must honor that. I must represent that because my life is not about me. It's about our people. You see what I mean? It's about me first. By qualifying myself, the first law of nature is self. I got to qualify myself to be a team player. We understand it in the system. To play sports and all that, you got to qualify yourself. But what about qualifying yourself in life? Because we are life. The black man and woman are the ones who can bear witness there is God because of our intelligence. We recognize our Father. But what does that make us? So be careful what you put behind I am, because I am is the name of God. So be careful. So with that in mind, family, I'd like to say this. Reverend, let me ask you, give us the last word before we close down.
Well, I think you've given a last word already. And I appreciate it. I think I can say that I heard the spiritualism coming from you in those last remarks, that God allows us this earth experience, that and the good and the bad, or we say that it's bad, or we say it's good. He allows us this experience that we can grow. Our souls can grow. I don't think for one moment that death is the end. I think there is more to life than living. There's more to death than dying. And I do believe that we are here to grow. And the bad experiences that we call it bad experiences, I think are part of our training of our souls. And we have to deal with these experiences, and we will grow from them. The good and the bad, it's all a part of our earth experience, and which has a purpose. And not only did he send us here, he also gave each of us some skills, abilities that we can use to achieve the specific reasons why we're here. We may be here simply to learn what it means to be dependent, or learn how to be responsible. It's not that we're not here to learn all the items in the textbook. It may be just one thing that we are here to learn. I often think of the persons who, when I worked for the child welfare, I think of the children who were born handicapped, and they will be handicapped all their lives, but their parents have to take care of them. Was it that the person was born handicapped so that he would learn what it means to be cared for? That's an important thing. And the people who take care of them, was he born to them so that they would learn how to take care of someone who needed them? You know, there's a lot to this whole earth experience we have. And though I cringe at the mass murder of the Jews, and the lynching of the blacks, and all that went with all of that, I know that the Lord has sent us here to have experiences, and some of them are horrible to us who see them, and some of them are good experiences, or call them good experiences, but we're all here for a purpose, and we need to make the most of out of these lives that we have, using our spirituality and our rationality. So let us continue to go on this journey, growing as we go. Going, growing.
Oh, that's beautiful, brother. We appreciate that, and I take that seriously. And I also, every time the minds come together, it always wakes up some things in you. And while you were saying what you were saying, there's no such thing as bad, only if you're not learning. How can it be bad if you're learning? Now, learning can be painful, it can be uncomfortable, it can be hurting, but bad? No. Everything is good. You see what I'm saying? There's no such thing as bad unless you're not learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Because how can learning be bad? It can be painful, but bad, I don't think so. That's why everything in life is good according to your beliefs. It is.
Amen.
Yes, sir. So with that in mind, warrior, again, I give raw food for thought. That's why I wrote my second book. It's called Raw Food for Thought. And the subtitle is Things We Must Eat. There it is on the screen. Raw Food for Thought. See? And we must tell it like it is, like the old folks say. Just tell it like it is. You have no control over people's feelings. Do your part so you can get your blessings.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So we must be real and true to thyself, make it real and keep it real. And with that in mind, we'd like to thank our warrior guest, our elder, Reverend Mallory. We appreciate you, brother, more than you know. And all that the Creator has blessed you with and going to bless you with, you deserve it and you earned it.
God is good.
Most certainly. You and your queen, brother, you go ahead on. Because when the male spirit comes together with the female spirit, that is God.
Amen.
Why? Because you can reproduce yourself, and that's the children. So with that in mind, family, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in, our guests. It is very important for us to come together. The main thing that will get us back together is we have to learn how to communicate. Communications will help us build our faith in one another and start believing in one another once again. And stop zeroing in on our programming of always looking for fault. The key to it all is always look for the good. Because there's good in everything, no matter how it seems. Because everything is in divine order.
Amen.
Yes, sir. So with that in mind, I'd like to say peace, Hotep, Baraka. Baraka is Swahili for peace. Salam alaikum, Shalom alaikum. All that means peace in different languages. So why are we magnifying on the languages instead of the commonality that we are all children of God? So we must act like we know. So with that in mind, family, have a right thinking, right giving, and right eating is holistic living. Again, right thinking, right giving, and right eating is holistic living. You can't go wrong when you do that. That's the pyramid. The three. Three is the family. Three is the spiritual number. Numerology, let's get into that too. The power of numbers. So with that in mind, family, have yourself a blessed day, a blessed week, a blessed year, and a blessed life. With that in mind, this is Dr. Sadiki Che Baye, the host of the Men's Room, and Reverend Mallory. I look at you as Dr. Reverend Mallory, Reverend Dr. Mallory. Anyone that you feel that is worthy of being acknowledged on this show, pass it on, because we must acknowledge each other and stop waiting for somebody else to do it like we children.
Okay. Will do.
I really appreciate you, brother. You carry on, warrior. May the Creator and the ancestors continue to lead, guide, direct you and your family. to greater heights.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Go ahead, Queen Mother. Take us through the finish line. It's a technology again.